is OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog on TSN 1050.
Here we go, OverDrive, off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, up on TSN 4, up on YouTube Live. Brian Hayes, Keegan Matheson, and Dave Feschuk in here. How's everybody doing this afternoon?
Doing well, fellas. Happy to be in. How we doing?
Great to see you guys.
Couldn't be better.
Couldn't be better. It's not possible to be better.
Would not be.
I love that.
Would not be possible.
That's an optimistic viewpoint.
You know why, Hazy? Tonight there's NFL football.
Yes, we do. We get the Argos back home. How about that? The Argos are actually playing in Toronto, and we've got the Hall of Fame game, which means we will not have a Thursday without football for like 6 months or something like that.
Oh.
Like it's a long, long time now. Thursday night football. Rejoice.
I love it.
And I love that, right? Like the preseason is what it is, and they've cut games down, and a lot of players just don't play, and the game will be, I'm sure, terrible tonight. But there will be a line, and I'll bet it. That was it. And kids today, as I yell towards the clouds, although actually I support the clouds. Like this is a good thing because I love the more the merrier. This is great about football. But man, it used to be if you weren't ready to watch football from like 1 till about 7 o'clock on a Sunday, that was it. No Thursdays, no Saturdays, no Sunday night football. Now we got Wednesday night football.
That's right.
Times.
Oh, I love it.
They play on Fridays.
I hope they find a new time zone to play in.
Yeah.
I'll watch that.
Oh, they'll figure it out. Like I think they're going to Australia to start the year this year.
They are.
I think the Niners are playing out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna get football like a Wednesday, a Thursday, a Friday, Saturday. We're getting every single day the NFL's playing now.
Love it.
Who's running the NFL? It's like Johnny Infantino's running the NFL, right? The more the merrier.
Well,
he's in trouble. He's still getting pushed. Like everyone in Europe, and he's European. They're like, get rid of this guy. They don't like him. Can't stand Infantino.
It's like do not besmirch our friends at the NFL because Johnny Infantino thinks he's an operator.
You're right,
but he ain't much of an operator.
You're very right.
He's got a massive revolt on his hands now after he attempted to sell the World Cup at apparently a big discount to Trump connections in the USA. It's not going over
That's not going over well
in the rest of the world.
I mean, the prime minister's even saying, just get rid of this guy. He was very chummy with him a couple weeks ago, but he's turned on him now.
When you're too corrupt for international soccer,
right?
That's
exactly.
an accomplishment.
That really is. Yeah. And when politicians are like, I don't know about that one. Like, I'm not sure about this.
It's great.
That's not good.
You've got Sepp Blatter, who got run out of FIFA as the president of FIFA for corruption-related issues, and he is outraged at the corruption of the Gianni Infantino regime. Well, it is caricature stuff, man. It's hard to believe. It's he's like a cartoon, except he's real.
Yeah, he's got that vibe to him. Like you see him at the World Cup draw, you're like, who is this guy?
Perfect name for it too.
Johnny Infantino.
Johnny Infantino.
It's so perfect.
It's like I wrote a bad book about corruption.
Speaks multiple languages. I'm sure a smart guy and probably a gregarious guy, probably a captivating presence. But there's a lot of football purists that are not happy with the whole routine, including going to 48 teams the way that they have. Now, they're never putting that horse back in the barn. That's not going backwards. Even if Infantino's out, they're not going to 32 teams in 4 years.
That was one of his successful things.
That's the thing. They're like, we're getting more teams, more countries, more games, more money. Everyone's okay with this. But it's kind of like the college football playoffs. It's going to keep going. Once you open the door a little bit, like they're talking in college football, they might get up to 24, 36 teams.
Yeah.
You're going to have like Southeastern Louisiana State in the playoff coming up in the next few years.
Which I want to say I hate, but then if I was the person on the other end making money and I got the email saying, you want to just bump it one more and you'll make $8 million more, I'd sell my soul in a minute. Let's be honest about it.
And they know people are going to watch.
Yeah.
Right? There's two guarantees in sports. The NFL and international soccer, people are watching.
Yes.
And they will watch every single second of every single game. No one is ever going to say, I'm not doing this. They're watching. They're going to tune in.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. That's the truth of it. I mean, there were a lot of people pushing back because there had been 32 teams for so long, and then people were saying, well, there's going to be so many meaningless games. but there really weren't a lot of bad games, you know, in that 48-team format.
Well, and there's no overlapping. So when you have the stage to yourself, even if it is two teams that maybe shouldn't be in the World Cup, if it's the only game being played,
easy.
People are going to watch it.
I mean, I'm in a better
around the
mood
world.
today
People are watching it,
and right now because I'm going to watch Kenny Pickett and Carson Beck play football tonight.
I love it,
and it's changed my entire day.
Yes.
Once you reach this level, man, you can kind of do what you want.
It is a beautiful thing. You're right. Once, like, we got the NFL, it's popping again starting tonight, the Hall of Fame game, and again we get the Argos playing. We get the Blue Jays down at Wrigley, and we were talking about Kevin Gausman yesterday, and it's an interesting story coming out of there. I think it was Shai Davidi who spoke with him, and Gausman effectively said, I'd rather not pitch against the Blue Jays. I'm a little bit surprised by that. Because I understand his history, and I get he's trying to find his way into the Cubs clubhouse and all that. And he's been talking a lot. Like, Kevin's been giving them some quotes about the Dodgers, about the Jays, about Wrigley compared to the Rogers Center, all that kind of stuff. But generally speaking, especially a veteran guy, if there's a chip on his shoulder, and I don't think there is, I don't believe it's like he feels as if the Jays have screwed him over because they traded him. I get the impression he's probably embracing this because he probably knew he wasn't going to return and the season wasn't going great with Toronto. And now you walk in, Chicago Cubs are a good team going to the playoffs. Like, this has the chance to be a really magical 3 or 4 months for him. But usually those guys are like, give me the ball against my former team. Like, I want to get it over with, if anything. And instead, he, I guess, basically deferred and said, I'd prefer not to do it.
I'd rather not.
I'd rather not pitch against, especially this lineup. Like, don't you want to pitch against the Jays?
I mean, my God, pitch
working?
against the worst offense in baseball.
Probably.
It'd look incredible. But when he came out and said that, it surprised me a little bit. I thought he might want to bounce right back in. But this feels more like instead of just Toronto Blue Jay being traded, like a Toronto resident being traded. Like it feels like Kevin Gausman grew up here, and this is his hometown team that he's getting dealt away from. But even those comments yesterday about it being all about baseball and being different in Chicago, you see the sensitivity here in Toronto still, where he's so beloved. And I didn't read those as a dig. I think there's some interpretation that needs to take place there. But
how'd you interpret them?
I agree with him. I agree with him, but I don't think he's taking a shot at Toronto. When you go to Wrigley Field, and I'll use Fenway Park as the other one I'd put in that mix, it is only baseball. You're going to a ballpark. When you go down to the Dome here, you are going to a stadium that has a baseball field where they play baseball games. Those are two very different things. The Blue Jays have done a tremendous job with that place, turning it into a much better place than that hunk of concrete that was there 5-6 years ago. A way better job. It may not be my style, but anyone I talk to around my age or younger, they love it, and I've got to listen to that. But I even had this thought yesterday, guys, in Houston. It was an hour before the game, and it surprised me. I said to Mitch Bannon sitting next to me from The Athletic, I said, man, I just noticed, like, my shoulders are low. I'm kind of relaxed here. Normally an hour before a game, I'm just angry and tense, but it's because I'm sitting in a nightclub. And there the music was just soothing. They were just playing some old country music in Houston.
Yeah.
You get that when you're at Wrigley. You get that when you were at Fenway. You're outside, like Gus said, it's real grass, and there's not much else in those stadiums. Like, you walk around Fenway Park, they kind of carved some beer vendors into the brick walls. There's nothing else going on there. There's no bouncy house. There's no DJ. There's no patio where people aren't watching the game. I agree with him. I just don't think it's a dig. I think he's saying it's different, not better or worse.
Well, and again, I think it's very important to point out this was through the eyes of his wife, is what he was saying.
Yeah.
Like, my wife came down here and said this, that it's very different. It wasn't Gausman saying, come over here, I want to talk about how great Wrigley is compared to Rogers Center or anything like that. That he was speaking on the differences. That's how I interpreted it. And I said it yesterday. I looked at it like the Rogers Center has been upgraded. It's bigger. They can park underground. There's a lot of different things that come with it, where Wrigley is a different atmosphere. Wrigley is an incredible place. It is my favorite place to go and watch baseball. I love it. I love Wrigleyville. I love the whole experience. I urge anyone that hasn't done it to do it. It is the coolest place to watch baseball.
That's number one for you?
It's number one, absolutely.
Really?
And I've been to Fenway. I've been to Yankee Stadium. I've been to, I don't know what it's called in San Fran anymore, but it used to be Oracle Park or whatever. And that one's incredible, too. San Francisco's park is amazing. PNC and Pitt. I've been to a lot of different parks.
And you like Wrigley the best?
I absolutely like.
Really?
I love Chicago.
Yeah.
We've had that conversation. But Wrigleyville, it's in the north side. It's in a community. It would be like if the Rogers Center was at Yonge and Eglinton.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like to put that into perspective in Toronto. Like instead of North Toronto Arena, they had a baseball diamond there with bars everywhere. It would be incredible.
Hot take. I'll probably get fired within a minute. The Ivy's ridiculous.
You're not an Ivy
I'm
guy?
not an Ivy guy.
See, I completely. So what are you? Not a
I'm a Green Monster guy.
I was going to say, you're not a Green Monster
I
guy?
do not think that nature should be growing onto the field like that, even in baseball.
I think that's what makes that place so great.
Pretty
It's
special.
important to know your own bad takes, and I think that's my worst take.
Okay,
I'm just
but I
not an Ivy
appreciate that
guy.
you got the stones to drop
feel
it. 'Cause
lighter.
Yeah.
I think you'd be 1 in a million with a take.
I
like
think
that.
I am. It's my worst one.
Because it really has no effect on anything. Like if you're in the stands or if you're in the press box, the ivy doesn't affect you other than your sight lines, I guess.
Yeah.
So the idea of even having being triggered by it is. I'm astonished by
Are
that.
you against the azaleas at Augusta? Like,
Right.
what-
Do you hate
Oh,
azaleas?
absolutely. Oh, yeah. A lot of groundworking takes.
Okay.
I can't
Okay.
imagine being an outfielder and going hard into the ivy.
The brick wall?
Right behind it.
Yeah. I mean,
And the odd time the ball gets caught up in it, I want it to be bouncing off. And
Okay.
Well, I hear balls get caught up against the walls that just have padding on them too.
They have.
They do.
Trauma.
Somewhat
Sequel
famously.
series.
Somewhat famously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it is a part of the unique element of Wrigley. It's one of one in terms of that. And the Green Monster's 1 of 1.
Yep.
Unless you go to Fort Myers where they try to replicate it at Jet Park down there. But
So goofy. I
It
love it.
is kind of like unnecessary. We get it. You play at Fenway. You don't really need that in Fort Myers for the 15 games you play.
It's
or
kind of
20
cool
games.
though.
But it is.
It is.
It's actually a really cool
Yeah,
park down
yeah.
there. But yeah, so Gosman, I guess he basically said I'd rather just not pitch against the Blue Jays.
See, I don't get that. Like,
I don't really either.
If I'm a fan of the team and I'm just a fan of let's call baseball a competition, but let's also call it an entertainment product. I mean, this is one of the examples of pro athletes kind of not seeing the forest through the trees of what their job is. You're like, it's like the guys that complain that I don't want to play in Toronto because too many people like hockey there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, think that through, guy. Like, if everybody liked hockey as much as they did in Florida, you guys would all be making about $400,000 a year. It's because of markets like Toronto that there's a guy making $18.8 million a year this year, and it's because the people care and want to watch and want to see matchups that you are a very wealthy person. And for Gosman, it's like, buddy, like, This would be a gift to the owners of both these teams, like a must-watch game, like turning this game into a must-watch.
Yes.
Kevin Gosman against his old team.
A makeup game.
A makeup game at Wrigley. I mean, suddenly you get an event in the middle of a nothing season. You know what I mean? And it would be a lot of fun to watch. Like, not that people wouldn't watch this game without him, but obviously a lot more people would watch it with him.
It's a more
on the
compelling breakdown of what happened. So
Yeah.
how did Gosman pitch is the primary story. That includes the fact that Vladdy's not playing again today. And Savage, Schneider said before the game, it's a meniscus issue, which is very different than knee inflammation. Right now, we've pinpointed a specific body part.
That's what Steve Phillips said he thought it was.
Yeah, exactly.
When we had him on yesterday.
And those can be tricky. Like for a young guy, I mean, do they rehab it? What do they do? If it's a rehab, that's a. In other words, if they try to repair it, you can either repair it or basically cut it out. If you repair it, that's a long rehab. It's probably better for the longevity of his knee. And I'm saying this because I literally had my meniscus repaired. I'm not speaking.
Have you?
Yeah, I'm not speaking as if I'm an orthopedic surgeon and I know that. You asked me about anything else, I'd be like, I have no idea what he should do.
Was this the getting up off the floor injury?
Yeah, this was.
Okay.
Yes. And the amazing thing about the surgery was I didn't know what I was getting until I came to like a couple hours later, because I was like my understanding with a meniscus, and again, this is from the surgeon, who was a friend of mine. He said, 30 and under, you're always going to repair. Maybe different for professional athletes because they want to get back and they want to get playing. Like you see it in the NFL all the time. Cut it out, I got to get back. You know what I mean? I'll deal with the knee injuries when I'm 40 and 50, 60. I'll get a knee replacement, whatever. Get me back. It might be a little bit different with baseball and with Savage and the fact that the season might be over for him anyway. But under 30, you always repair. Over 40, they basically always cut it out. I was like 32 or 33, and he said, I don't know, man. It's a bit of a gamble. Like, He goes, what do you want me to do? I go, you tell me. You're the doctor. Like, you make the call. And I woke up a couple hours later. I'm like, what happened? Because if you cut it out, like, or cut the meniscus off, I'm being a little bit, cavalier here with the terminology, but it's like a 4 to 6 week recovery, and you're up and walking in a couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
If it's repaired, it's like, giant cast.
Straighten
you're
out
not
the
moving
leg
for 5 or 6 weeks,
right?
And a 5 or 6 month recovery. So when I came to, I'm like, at the moment, I'm like, I kind of wish you just cut it out so I can get moving here. And they repaired it. I'm like, oh my God. But long term, I know people care about this stuff. I think my knee's going to be in a better place.
That's good.
I think long term, it was the right decision.
It's key
so
to
happy.
radio hosting.
Yeah, I think
Truly.
it is, to make sure that I have my knee intact. But I guess what I'm trying to get to is we don't know what Savage has yet. They don't know if there is going to be surgery. If there is, what the recovery is. But I can't imagine it's good for him making another start this season.
No.
Whether they repair it or they just
I'd feel surprised at this
cut it
point
out.
because Blue Jays injury news only gets worse, right?
Generally speaking.
Day 1, maybe you get a word. Day 2 or 3, you get the body part. Day 5 or 6 or 10, you get what's actually happening. And I feel like we're close to that now. But, I mean, man, you want to keep your meniscus as much as possible.
That's very true.
A guy in the first year of your big league career, first full year, and you're 23 years old. Like, we hear about this more in the NFL with guys blowing knees and meniscus and how that wears down and how are you trimming it? Are you going to repair? And you don't hear about it as much in baseball. And when you do, it's always weird stuff like this. Like, he wasn't even throwing.
No.
He was just tossing, getting loosened up, and suddenly John Schneider's bolting out of the dugout. And the moment I saw that back angle with him trying it again and his knee does the little power wobble.
Not good.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
That's trouble.
Savage's delivery matters here, too. He's so vertical. And this is not a guy that's, like Dylan Cease, uses an example, a guy who's constantly in motion forward. Drea Savage, there's a lot of up and down movement, and he hammers down on that left foot first. So vertical. You always need a healthy knee, but my God, especially Drea Savage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's worrisome.
And he knew it right away, too.
Yeah.
He's like, this is not good. This is trouble. Yeah.
Except, here's the thing, though, guys. They're only 3 back. I mean, they're on a bit of a run here, winning 2 straight series.
Does this count as a series win? What happened in the first couple of games against the Cubs before the rainout? I can't remember.
Good question.
But
I mean, they're going to need him if they're in this race.
Yeah.
And there's a chance they could be because everybody else that's sort of in this race, when you look at all the teams between them and the final wild card spot, there's nobody that's particularly good or particularly, scary in terms of that's a team that could go on a run.
Well, the Rangers are currently in the 3rd wild card spot, and they are a game under 500. So, again, history would tell you the 3rd wild card spot, usually to make the playoffs, is you got to get, on average, 86, 87 wins, right? Division winners are going to have, like Jays had 94 last year. The Yankees had 94. The best teams in baseball have well into the 90s. Generally, the wild card teams, the first top 2 are into the 90s as well, but there usually is that 3rd team that just kind of gets to 86, 87 wins. Sometimes it's 89, sometimes it's 85. I keep waiting for teams to take off and make that feel as if it's a reality, and it very likely still can and will be. We still have over 40 games left to be played, but if it's 83 or 84 wins, the Jays, as crazy as it sounds, like you do the math. If they can find a win in Chicago here, you're talking 29 and what, 17 the rest of the way, whatever it is. Like, they got a tough schedule. Like, they got the Phillies coming up. They got games against the Yankees, the Sox, the Rays. They got a lot in the American League East. It's not going to be easy, but does the math all of a sudden become possible? Yeah, which I got to say is crazy considering how poorly they've played. Their offense is still terrible. Now Savage is hurt. Vladdy's hurt. They've traded away veterans that obviously, made an impact on the clubhouse. And yet they're still, within a hot week away from being like a game or game and a half, 2 games out of a wild card spot.
Says more about the league than the Jays.
Yeah,
even,
it does,
I think.
really.
When I look at this, I just try to ask myself, like, which of these is a serious team? And which are teams that are just hanging around because no one else is good at this point? I feel like the Mariners can be a serious team. with the pitching they have, if they call up their top pitching prospect and roll with that and he gets hot, that can go somewhere. But I think it's just so deceiving still at this point. Like, I don't love the Rangers to hold on to this whatsoever. If the Guardians can win a bunch of 2-1 ball games that bore people, maybe. But the Jays, I know they're 3 back, but the odds are like 6%.
Yeah, it's still very
right
low
now.
because the teams
still
I got to
suck.
jump over.
And I know people don't want to hear that, but I'm not making it up. It's what the math says right now. It just takes one of these teams to get hot. One of 6 teams needs to get hot. And if it's going to be the Jays, they have to get hotter than anyone. So
Right.
It's unlikely, but it's enough to play. Like,
Well, and there have been examples of it. Detroit did it a couple years ago, where they sold at the trade deadline. It felt like they weren't ready for prime time. They were bringing up young players, and they went on the heater of heater to win the division, I believe, a couple years ago. Now, there was a choke down the stretch. I want to say it was Minnesota, maybe Cleveland. I can't remember. But there were other teams that had to fall back. It'd be different, again, if it was within the division and you had one team that you needed to fall apart and you played a bunch of games against them. Jays don't have that. Detroit's interesting, though, because, again, historically speaking, run differential tells you a lot about the likelihood of a team winning or losing. And they have a plus 69 run differential, the Tigers. Like, everyone else in the race is well into the red. Like, the Jays are minus 60. Like, the Tigers are plus 129 run differential on the Jays, and yet the Jays are a game and a half back of them. So, obviously, wins and losses are what are the priority. But I'm sure down in Detroit, they're looking at that saying something doesn't give here. Like, how do we have a plus 69 run differential and we're 4 games under 500? But
it's bizarre.
I mean, we'll see what they've got in store today. Keegan, you got a list for us, right? We're going to get to this hour.
I'm going to fix the Jays again, yes.
You're going to fix the Jays. We've got Trevor May coming up just after 5. We've got some arbitration we'll get to today. Like Keegan said, NFL football tonight. Argo's back in action tonight. We got the Wyndham going on the PGA Tour. We'll chat a little bit about that. Keegan Matheson in here, Dave Feschuk in here. I'm Brian Hayes. OverDrive continues up on YouTube Live.
hard to win the FedEx Cup if you haven't had a great season. The list of names that's been on that trophy is pretty special.
The FedEx Cup playoffs on TSN.
Now, back to OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, OverDrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you more ways to play your game your way. The tennis continues in Montreal and in Toronto. We only have one Canadian left. Layla's the only one on the men and the women's side.
Not great.
Not great. Not great. I mean, and it felt like Felix had a real, like the seas were parting for him, right? With Sinner not here and Alcaraz not here, and a bunch of the big guys went down early. It was like, Felix, man, just stay healthy and you can win this thing. Like, we could have gone back-to-back with Vicky and Boca last year in Montreal and Felix this year in Montreal. And obviously that's not going to happen. And maybe Leylah Fernandez, finds a way to stay hot, go on a heater through the tournament. But been some great crowds up there in Toronto.
It's a great atmosphere up there.
It's a great. My mom's been like volunteering up there for a couple of years. She loves it.
Yeah.
Says it's just incredible being up there.
It was the first time I saw live tennis when I went a few years back.
Yeah.
It's so much fun. Easy to get to.
Yeah.
Packed. Like, you can just hang out.
That's the beauty of it. Like, it's got to be a hangout thing.
Yeah.
Because there's different matches going on in a bunch of different courts, and you walk. You walk around. There's doubles here. There's singles here. But Sabalenka on main court tonight, or on center court tonight, and it's we're plugging along towards the U.S. Open, and the majors are all done. Majors are done in golf, and the slams are almost done in tennis.
Hard to take that the majors are done in golf.
I don't like it.
No.
Like, the PGA Championship should be like this weekend, or next weekend. The idea that they just stuff it in May. It was already the forgotten major anyway. But what it did afford you was like the ability to push the major season, down the line that much more. And, like, I get they want to amplify the FedEx and all that, but they've never been able to figure that out properly. And
nobody buys it. Like, nobody sees it that way.
It's not worth what they want it to be worth.
You think anyone ever will?
In terms of
10,
legacy.
15 years, will like a new generation of golf fans care? I don't know. Like, I don't sense that.
The fact that it's always been sponsored just doesn't help with the integrity of the award. The fact that FedEx is supply. You're winning the FedEx. It's not the Masters, the U.S. Open.
As an entry point, you already need to have positive feelings about FedEx shipping.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it just immediately is like, okay, this is obviously a manufactured thing, and I understand the meaning behind it, why they want it to be something you build up, and it's very North American. Like, we talk about it all the time with soccer. Like, you got to have playoffs over here. We are a playoff continent. That's what we live for. We love the playoffs. And, the Tour Championship's cool. It's unique. East Lake's a great place. But, I don't know. Maybe that's something they're going to figure out and get right starting in 2028 when they really rework the Tour that much more.
Yeah, and they're going to move it around potentially and have some fun with it. But, yeah, I think part of it, too, is, like, the money has become so absurd in pro golf. Like, the best guys are so rich. Like, when it first arrived, and it was like a huge purse, like the biggest purse of the year for the FedEx Cup, it felt like it meant something, right? And now, like, another $10 million for these guys. Like, Scotty Scheffler wins another $10 million. It doesn't. Nobody cares. I mean, I'm not even sure he'll even notice. I mean, if he's anything like, if he's a Shohei Ohtani-esque banker, like another
Plus, 10, got an interpreter that gambles a lot.
10, give or take 10. I don't even notice 10 million when it's there or it's not.
Yeah.
But what was Shohei's number, Keegan? It was more like 17.
17. I listened to that most recent episode on the drive out, actually. But
so
I noticed 17 cents myself.
But there's probably a lot of guys at the PGA Tour that if 17 million went missing, they might take a few days to figure it out. Because they're all that rich.
Yeah, no, they are. Like, every tournament, on the tour, and every tournament on track one, whatever that's going to represent in a couple of years, is going to have a purse of $20 to $30 million.
Yeah.
So the winner's going to make $4 million. You top 10 it, you're going to make close to $1 million. Yeah. Like, and there's a lot of guys who never win, yet they make a lot of money because they top 15, top 20, make cuts, and they just survive. And so, the FedEx playoffs, you can't catch up to the majors. You're not going to. They're just too established, and they mean too much. And that was never I think, attainable. But the reality is, and I think what's always kind of hurt the playoffs in the PGA Tour is other tournaments just have more meaning. The players obviously have more meaning. I would argue the Memorial has more meaning. Probably the Arnold Palmer. Waste management is huge when they go to Pebble Beach. And, like, East Lake has an aura to it to an extent, but the previous courses that they play building up to it don't.
No.
So you're playing like the BMW Championship at courses in like Memphis, and you're like, what are we doing? I don't know where we are or what we're doing here. So
no, that's why I think like the idea that they would move the Tour Championship to a more prestigious club.
Yeah, like they want to go to like Riviera or something like that, or get out to Pebble Beach for the playoffs maybe or something like that. That makes sense.
And I think there has been some murmurs that they might try and go to some of these really exclusive country clubs.
Why would they allow that? Like I've seen that too. Like go to Cypress Point or go to Pine Valley. Why would those courses want the PGA Tour to be
Speaking of not needing money.
Yeah, you don't need money. You don't want people knowing where you are.
Yeah.
You don't want fans walking around like, hey, pass me another course.
I would love it, though.
On Pine Valley.
I'd love to watch
I
that.
would too. Don't get me wrong.
Absolutely, but I don't know the incentive.
I'm saying I'm all for it. Don't misinterpret this. I would love to see them play Pine Valley or Cypress Point. I'm saying if I am on the board at Pine Valley, I'm like, explain to me why I need the PGA Tour here.
No, you're right.
Why would I want the PGA Tour here?
I've had those conversations with members at very exclusive clubs, and they're like, why would I want
We see it in Toronto.
Yeah.
The Canadian Open, I think, would love to go to certain spots, and like, why would we shut down, and what do we need that for?
Exactly.
Like,
no, look, and I think it's a bit of a pipe dream, but I do think there's a bit, like, for sure in Toronto, I think, there's a reason why they're up at TPC Toronto now, almost full time with the Canadian Open, because it is hard to get courses in Canada to, take an already short season and shorten it even further by saying, give us your course for 3 weeks or whatever it is. Well, we put up grandstands and trample the grass and park cars and basically, do a number on it. And then we're going to give you some money, obviously, for that. But is it ever enough when, to your point, like, guys are rich enough? Like, they don't, rich members aren't impressed by your check,
Well, and especially at, like, Cypress Point.
Right.
Which, again, you got to be a golf freak to even know that place.
But I would say the one difference that I've noticed, and I think some of the golf executives that you hang out with at the Masters and stuff, they talk about global golf and the differences around the world. Americans see it a little differently than Canadians, and probably maybe because they have slightly longer seasons, depending on where they are geographically. But there's a little more feeling of prestige. Like they'll give over great country clubs to the women's amateur and the men's amateur.
Well, that's valid.
And the women and the girls junior and the boys junior. Like those tournaments, the USGA tournaments are held on prestigious courses all the time. There's a little bit more of pride of place. There's also some hermits that don't want to be bothered at some very exclusive clubs.
Well, and listen, Riviera hosts a tournament every single year. That is a very exclusive club in LA.
But it's also LA. They get 52 weeks a year of sunshine.
Exactly.
They'll be okay.
They'll be okay. And they host some U.S. Open. I think they're going to host the U.S. Open there in the future. The women's U.S. Open, I think, was there recently. So you're right. And that's, again, we're getting really inside baseball or inside golf here. But there's, like, clubs that everyone knows, and then there's clubs that, like, golfers really know, and that's Pine Valley and Cypress Point. And it would be like if you drove past the street, you wouldn't even know it was there.
Right.
But it's like tucked behind, in. And when you're there, you're like, man, this place is a paradise. But they don't want the rest of the world knowing about it.
Yeah.
It's like Skulls and Bones and stuff like that. Like, we don't need the whole world looking at us and what we got going on here. So, but that would be, I understand why they would want that. Like, if you're the PGA Tour, it'd be amazing. It'd be incredibly compelling, the idea of playing there. Question is, can you get fans? That's a big part of it, too. You need to sell tickets and stuff like that. I could see those clubs saying, you can come play match play here. And we'll allow some people around, but we're not allowing 250,000 people that trample around the course. And that's another hurdle that they deal with at times.
But it points to the fact they need to spice this thing up somehow.
They do, yes, they do. And I think they're aware of that, and they're probably going to try, and we'll see what they can pull off. And we'll see what kind of broker, the new commissioner is. And how involved, what kind of pull Tiger Woods has when he makes a call. Rory McIlroy and others. We'll see.
I thought of Tiger right away, actually. Like, if you had peak early 2000s Tiger on this right now, does the star power appeal get you in the door at some of those places, because nothing compares to that right now in golf. Nothing, it might be a long time till something does, but
that's
one of those things that can kick a gate down,
It can, and maybe he's the guy. You can make a call, and maybe they're like, yeah, if you're coming, Tiger, we're willing to maybe look into that. Now, he's not going to play, but the presence of Tiger, again, I don't know if it's worth any. Like, as great as Tiger is, those clubs were around long before he showed up, and they're going to be there long after he leaves.
And some of them weren't particularly welcoming to people who looked like him.
That's
quite a long time.
Another reality. Yes, absolutely. So we'll see. But the tour's, continuing here. We're getting closer and closer to the end of the FedEx Cup, and then we get the President's Cup coming up. Right, President's Cup back up this year. So NFL football tonight, like we pointed out, we saw Aaron Donald show up at the Rams facility yesterday. Feels like a foregone conclusion that he's going to rejoin them. I think Adam Schefter was reporting he's trying to see if he still has, I don't know, the jump, the power, the energy to go through with it, which, again, he's been off for 2 years and he's 35. But we talked about it yesterday. If Donald returns and signs with the Rams, is it possible that that defense becomes like the side of the ball in the NFL that you want to watch first and foremost over any offense, any quarterback, any other defense in the league? I would probably argue yes. And again, like even the best of the best have like a sack a game, maybe 17 sacks a season. But the idea of Garrett and Donald on the same defensive line, I can't recall the last time I would be that excited for like a defensive performance.
Yeah, it's them in Houston, really. Like what Houston did in the playoffs last year, but they don't have a name like Donald.
That's the whole thing. Or Garrett, for that matter.
No, and they're dragging this on. I mean, just sign the contract.
Yeah.
Do it, And what excites me is that when Aaron Donald went out, he was not broken down and tired. It was kind of a surprise retirement at the time. Like he had played quite a while, but when you look back at his final season, like his win rates, even in the run game, his pass rush metrics were the top of the league. Like he was at the absolute elite point of his career still. I love the idea of bringing him back in more of like a limited, don't run the guy into the ground. I know he stays in better shape than maybe I do with some time off, perhaps. But I don't know if he's maybe Aaron Donald. But don't play him 99% snap share like he did before. You bring him in when it's obvious pass rushing downs.
Load manage in the NFL.
There you go.
Let him come out angry for 70% of the snaps.
Yeah.
And you have an undeniable defense, along with Matt Stafford, who probably takes a step back, but it's still good.
What is he looking to get paid is always intriguing.
The thing. Is this LeBron or is this $30 million?
That's it, because LeBron, he took the league minimum to go to Philly. And I'm guessing the front office in Philly said, we believe we can win, but we don't believe we can pay you. So you make the choice, and he made the choice. And, LeBron is still LeBron, and he can make his demands, and they will be heard and respected. But he doesn't have history in Philly, so they might be more emboldened to tell him, hey, we just can't do it for you. Donald has history with the Rams. And the last time we saw him, more or less, he won them a Super Bowl.
Yes.
So is he coming back on a league min just for the love of the game, or is he coming back? I mean, I'm sure they've had these conversations, and they know where their cap is, and they know how they are going to find a way to fit him in. But I can't imagine he's coming back for nothing.
No.
Like Aaron Donald's probably thinking, you got to pay me if I'm coming back.
Well, because it's an organizational imperative to get him, because guess what? The Rams got a home Super Bowl this year.
Right.
Not only are they the runaway favorites to win the thing, they got a home game.
Didn't they win their Super Bowl in L.A.?
Was that in SoFi?
Was that it? Look that up, Alex. I feel like they won in L.A.
Yeah, I might have.
Because I think the first one to do it was Tampa in Tampa. Remember during the Brady win, they were the first one to do it. And I want to say the Rams did it at SoFi too. I could be wrong on that, but because that was when the kicker for the Bengals came out and watched Dre and Eminem and Snoop and them. Wasn't that the halftime show? And I think that was in L.A.
Correct.
Which is still a bizarre story.
Man.
It was in LA?
It was SoFi.
Yeah, so there you go. That's, again, you talk about nostalgia. Run it back.
It fits the whole roster, too.
Going back to L.A., bring back Aaron Donald. Last time they hosted a Super Bowl, the Rams won it.
Could be Matt Stafford's last year. Like, he's beaten up. Think of his life he lived with the Lions, the back issue. Like, we thought that last year, preseason, is he toast already?
Absolutely.
Maybe this is his last year. I don't know how much longer Devontae Adams keeps doing this. I've been saying that for 5 years. It's probably a while longer. But, like, that defensive line could be one of the best we've ever seen. Like, even up the middle, they have Poona Ford, who's wildly underrated. Like, having Myles Garrett on that other end, it's just, this is video game stuff.
Yeah, it really
This is stuff that you do in a video game and laugh to yourself because it's so stupid it would never happen.
Right. And you play GM mode and you shut down, like, the arbiter in the game.
Turn off fair trades.
But, yeah, turn off fair trades.
I want to see it, man, as a football fan.
Okay, that was interesting, though. Like, when you said Stafford's broken down, we had the conversation yesterday. We did a little snake QB draft yesterday, and Hayes took Stafford, right?
I took him third overall. You say he's broken down. The guy won the MVP
for 1 year. I like him.
Yeah.
For 1 year.
Well, I mean, he won the MVP last year.
Yes,
guys.
he did, but he's also 38 years old. And I said, does he have George Springer vibes to him? Like, George Springer was the MVP of the Blue Jays last year.
Yes, he was.
And he ain't anything close to that this year.
Yeah.
No. And I wonder, like when you're that age, Hayes, when you're that age, and, you know, you've gone through a meniscus tear at that age.
I know what it's like.
You know what it's like.
I was actually younger than that.
How hard it is to recover.
It is. It's very difficult to do.
The Nixon cuts, they don't heal the same.
No, I hear you. And it's incumbent on that offensive line, you know, offering up protection. I mean, that goes without saying. Same thing for the guy in Pitt.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but listen, Brady's a freak in nature. He's a different beast, but he was playing until he was 45.
But he's one of.
100% he is. But Stafford, you know, 38 is still within range for quarterbacks. Like, I think it's enough to be able to put it together. You know, Elway won his back-to-back late in his 30s.
He did. Yeah.
You know,
but he just stood there.
And Stafford's not going to do much more. Stafford does not run the ball.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, Stafford will have like 12 yards rushing this year.
Yeah.
Because he fumbled the ball and picked it up and took off. Like, that's about it. You know, he ain't running. So he's going to sit in the pocket and sling it, and there's a lot of weapons there. And if the line is good enough and the run game is good enough to keep a defense honest, I'm okay with Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
I'm okay with
This
him.
year, absolutely.
I picked him in the draft.
This year, 100%.
Okay. This is the year.
And then
it's the line of demarcation.
Ty Simpson will be there, Drake May, and it'll all go fine.
See, that's an interesting one, too, because Aaron Rodgers, I think, was a little bit younger. He might have been 36 when they took Jordan Love.
And he won back-to-back MVP.
He went off, and he took that personally. He said, okay, you want to push me out? Wait till you see what I'm going to bring to
Is
the
Matthew
table.
Stafford as spiteful and vengeful as Aaron Rodgers?
I don't think
who's had a
anybody
very
is.
interesting week?
I don't think anybody is.
God.
Nobody is.
Like, Rodgers just cannot help himself. Like, you think at his age, last season, you're like, dude, just focus on, like, just be considering health and football and all that. He's got a vendetta list, and he's going through it, man.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, he ain't stopping.
No.
He's going to be a show, and that's what he is. Aaron Rodgers, he's a show.
He's letting it fly. That viral appearance he had, I was sitting in my Houston hotel room writing trade deadline stories, and it was on in the background behind me, and I kept kind of doing the, what?
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is he really? But
He lets loose. Like, he doesn't care, and there's a part of me that I appreciate that. Like, he is literally like, you can't throw me out of here. I'm done after this year. Pittsburgh needs me, and you're going to listen to me.
Yeah.
You know? It's the old guy at the store that's like, hey, you're going to hear me. Like, what are you going to do?
We're 1 year away from him launching the worst podcast of all time.
It's coming, I think.
The worst, and I say that aware of how bad those things can get. The worst podcast in sports history.
It's coming. I think you're probably right. All right, Trevor May in about 20 minutes. We get some arbitration. Keegan's got a list. OverDrive coming up. TSN 1050 and up on TSN 4.
Back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
So you see stuff pop up online all the time, and stories and anecdotes, and you don't know what's true and what's not, especially on Twitter. But I just read a cool story about a fan, running into Sidney Crosby and how gracious he was, and that doesn't surprise me at all. I fully assume it's 100% true. The definition of class.
Yep.
Sidney Crosby. But one of his teammates, a rich man, he's got a lot of term on his new deal. Ville Koivunen. I'm sure a lot of people are jumping on HockeyDB saying, who is that? Ville Koivunen has signed an 8-year deal in Pittsburgh worth $4 million a year, which is an interesting piece of business for Kyle Dubas. Is that how you describe it, Dave?
Well, Mr. Dubas built a reputation when he was in Toronto of being perhaps one of the worst negotiators we've ever laid eyes on.
To be fair to him, that was with the best players.
Yes, with the best players. With the best players.
Yeah.
I mean, some of us feel that negotiations should be give and take, and Mr. Dubas just gave and gave and gave.
Yes, he did.
To his best players, and ultimately to his detriment, to the point where they couldn't win the playoff series they wanted to win because they couldn't balance the team properly because they had 50% of the salary cap wrapped up in those 4 guys. I'd love to buy a car off of Kyle Dubas. Like I would love to get like a Facebook Marketplace listing from Kyle Dubas of something that I wanted.
Right.
Set of golf clubs and just like be able to negotiate with him.
Right.
You'd get the deal of the century every time, it feels like.
He countered lower for some reason.
Yeah, it does kind of feel almost like a South Park negotiation. Like it just eventually it gets way down there and you're like, how did that happen? Because Ville Koivunen has played 47 games in the NHL. He has 2 goals and 14 points. He was a second-round pick back in 2021, which means Dubas wasn't even there at that point.
Yeah.
It's not like it's his draft pick, his player. And I saw the email come in this morning, and again, he's a young guy trying to find his way. Clearly, they are believers that he is going to grow into a player that will be worth a lot more than that. Like that's the reality of the harsh salary cap. And why I find it so frustrating and why I really hope baseball doesn't go anywhere close to it is ultimately you got to take gambles on young players because it's just the arithmetic of the whole thing. Like they're paying this guy hoping in 2 years he's a $6 million player. And in 4 years he's an $8 million player. And then they're going to say, see, that's why it made sense. But the idea of a guy getting an 8-year term at $32 million total, 47 games into his career with 2 goals is actually absurd.
It is.
And is such an NHL contract. Like, and you're bidding. Who are you bidding against?
You've really got to believe he's going to be worth more in 2 years because you're bidding against no one.
Yeah.
And I mean, deep down there, someone, whether it's Kyle Dubas or someone in that front office, someone believes they have uncovered something genius here. Mm-hmm. And someone believes that this is going to be their thing that they hang their hat on 3 years from now. We're the people who discovered Koivunen and realized he needed to be paid right away. Because, I mean, it's the beauty of analytics.
And listen, he's like a point-a-game guy in the minors.
Yeah.
And he's been within the organization for a long time. They know him well, obviously. And this clearly is a statement that he is on the team next year and he's a player. But as you pointed out, Dave, you can get fillers in your lineup for $2 million.
Yeah.
Who, I would guess this upcoming season and maybe the year after would give you the same value, if not more, than Koivunen. Now, again, they are betting, and it's something you have to do in the NHL. Get out in front, and this is something Dubas actually didn't do in Toronto. He took his time. Remember, he always would quote Lou Lamoriello.
Yeah.
What was the one thing Lou taught you? Well, he said, if you have time, use it. Worst advice you could have gotten.
Terrible.
Because that's why Hyman left when he left. That's why Marner stuck it to you because you weren't willing to jump the gun. It's why Matthews did it. Willie did it. They all screwed you in the end because you took your time.
Yeah.
Instead of the year before saying, I got to get this guy done and pay him a little bit more now so that it's worth it down the road. Now he's going the opposite way.
Yes.
Which is somewhat fascinating. It's almost like Dubas is saying, screw it, man. That Lou Lamoriello really jammed me up. And I'm going to prove it by giving Ville Koivunen an 8-year contract when I can't imagine anyone else in the league would be willing to do that.
That's my thing. Like, hey, he may make us eat our words one day. Then
Yep.
maybe
That's what they're banking on.
Yeah, maybe Kyle Lewis will in a couple of years will say, ha ha ha, I got this guy at 4. And to your point, he's probably worth 7 or 8, or he's worth 6. And I'm laughing all the way to the bank. And the cap rose anyway, so he's just another guy for me. It didn't matter. But the thing is, like, to me, there's just not enough sample size here. Like, the guy plays like 13 minutes a night. And he's played 47 NHL games. He's not a particularly great skater.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's clearly not a particularly gifted goal scorer. It's like you're just another guy. The proverbial jag is like, it's not a guy you invest $32 million.
It's a big, big investment.
Great agent.
Yeah, it is. Credit to them. But you're right. Like Dubas has got a reputation, and I don't think on the surface this necessarily helps him. It doesn't in terms of that reputation of being a negotiator that
agent's best friend.
Is generally player friendly. Generally speaking, player friendly. Hour 2 coming up. Trevor May will join us. We've got Keegan's list. We got some arbitration as well up on YouTube Live.
The Amazing Race Canada. All new Tuesday at 9, 8 Central on CTV.
Hour 2 Overdrive continues, powered by FanDuel. Brian Hayes, Keegan Matheson, Dave Feschuk. Best bets later in the hour on the Argos and Stamps tonight. We got the Hall of Fame game down in Canton, Ohio. A lot of football tonight. Looking forward to that. And Jay's off to Philly after their game in Chicago, and they're still technically in the hunt. You know, they're still alive for that elusive third wildcard spot. Someone's got to play in the playoffs. Right, and that third wildcard spot has been pretty terrible all year. There's 4 or 5 teams in the mix. The Jays are one of them. They're at the bottom end of that barrel. They've got to jump over a lot of teams. They've got to play much better than they have at any point this season. But they have won a couple of series in a row. They might be on the verge of beating the Cubs. Philly's a good team, but they're not playing great. You know, you go down there, you find a way to get a series win, and then all of a sudden positive thinking. Right, that's where we're at. So Trevor May will join us in just a moment on that and more. But Keegan, you're sitting on a list here with that in mind as the backdrop.
The incredible optimism.
The incredible optimism the rest of the way here. You have 5 things that have to happen for the Blue Jays the rest of the way. With eyes on 27.
On 27. Well, right? And maybe if it works out this year, great. But these games still need to matter because there's a lot of them and because I need to justify my own existence. Let's be very honest about this.
I like that.
Number one, I just want to see this team let it fly down the stretch. Man, take some risks. If you take a big swing and strike out and look stupid, who cares? You're still in the same spot you were out of the playoffs. If you try to steal a base and get thrown out, who cares? You're still out of the playoffs. Whatever. If you miss the playoffs, no one cares about your record. You just missed. So take some big swings, be aggressive. And honestly, I think John Schneider is perfectly suited for that.
Yeah. Put the hit and run on with Kirk on first base.
Totally.
Just run.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Turn it into a video game. Go for it. We need to see a reason to believe in Vladdy, guys. I'm not going to say that we need Vladdy to be fixed. We need to see a reason to believe in this guy again. I talked to Vladdy down in Houston in the clubhouse one day, and I asked him because I need to be careful not to put words in his mouth and set him up for an answer. But I said, Vladdy, what needs to happen to this team to get better? And he looked at me and kind of chuckled as if to say, like, Keegs, dude, come on. Like, you know what the answer is. And he said, it's me, man. I've got to hit. I've got to do something. Does he need an IL stint? Maybe. And if you do, take it. My God. They're not going to miss a 690 OPS for 8 more days. Mm-hmm. Get right, get healthy, and become who you can be. We need to see something.
Yep, I agree with that. I'd like to see him continuing to play, right? Schneider kind of alluded to that last night. It's like, hey, it's a big boy league. Yeah. If you can play, you play in the majors.
Yeah.
You know, and we kind of want him to play. So they're threading a needle there in terms of, like, giving him some time, but also they want him to play.
Well, we heard our old pal Rich Griffin on with Al's brother earlier in the day on the station, and Rich said, hey, if he comes back, hit him 7th.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
That's spicy, man. I want Griff to be the guy that has to tell Vladdy, though. I don't want to be in the room.
He's a communications guy. He'd be good at that.
I love it, man. I love Griff, but I'd like to see him bumped a little bit there. If
you'd bump him down
690 OPS, and you can't be batting 2nd and 3rd every single night.
And yet he is.
I don't think they're going to do that.
But I don't think they will.
I don't think they will. If I know John Schneider and company, I don't think.
I think they'll let Vladdy pick where he is. I want to see an outfielder step up at some point down the stretch here, guys. Is it one of the prospects, Brett Bateman, who they got for Gosman, come up? One of these outfielders needs to step out from this blob of good outfielders. Someone needs to emerge for 2027 and make the other pieces potential trade chips. Someone needs to step out from this at some point. I also want to see something from Jose Soriano. We're going to see coming up in the debut. He is Dylan Cease light. He ain't Dylan Cease. Nobody is. But when you can throw 98 and you have a crazy curveball and you just need to get into the strike zone, there's some parallels there. Mm-hmm. And if there's one thing Pete Walker is good at, it's taking a good established pitcher and just pressing the right buttons. He did it with Robbie Ray. He did it with Bassett, with Berrios when he was good. He's done it with Gosman over and over. And I'm fired up, guys, to watch Soriano pitch tomorrow night. Like I feel like he's overshadowed by the selling. Mm-hmm. This dude's legit.
Yeah. Like that's a big acquisition. They traded a major prospect to get him.
Yeah.
Like they put their chips in to get this guy in the belief that he's going to be here for a couple of years. But I think they'll try to sign him long term.
I think so.
You know, I referenced the Barrios scenario.
Just like Barrios.
Very, very
top
similar.
infield prospect, too.
Yeah.
The right age.
Yep. Late 20s, reliable arm, live stuff. Let's pay him and keep him and believe in him.
Way to do it. Lastly, guys, I want to see something from Andres Gimenez. I know he is not the most exciting, buzzy guy to be talking about on OverDrive, but when I look at next year's payroll, I see number 1, Vladdy, number 2, Cease, sure. Number 3, Andres Gimenez, making $23.5 million.
Wow.
The Blue Jays took on that whole contract when they traded for Andres Gimenez. That's why you got him for only Spencer Horwitz, okay? I remember the initial reaction was like, wow, only this guy for this guy? Money, man. You don't usually see those types of deals in baseball. That feels more basketball style when you're taking on all that money.
Yep.
But Andres Gimenez, you've got to be doing more offensively or be an elite top of the league defender, which he has not really been this year. But $23.5 million for a couple more years, guys. That gets kind of dicey when you're building a payroll. That's a lot.
Yeah, and listen, his bat, he had a live bat down the stretch last year in the playoffs. He had some big hits.
It's in there.
He had some big hits and big at-bats for them in the playoffs.
But everybody did. It was contagious last year.
Yeah, I understand that.
Nobody could do any wrong.
But the other guys are, Nathan Lucas and David Schneider. Those guys aren't making anything.
Yeah.
This guy's making money, and he's playing every single day.
Big time.
Like the other guys who had some big hits and kind of were utility guys or in and out of the lineup, like Jimenez is playing every single day.
And I think he is very blessed to have us talking about Vladdy every day.
Very true. Very, very true. I like that. Okay. I mean, all those can apply down the stretch and into 27.
They can matter, man.
Right?
Why not take a run?
Well, let's see what happens. Trevor May's going to call in here in just a few moments, and he's an interesting guy. He's been around baseball. You see him on TikTok all the time. And he's always doing different lists, and he's pretty open and honest about, his own history and how he feels about the game. And I want to ask him about this Mets prospect that came up and made his debut. Jeffrey Yan, the Mets starting pitcher.
Electric.
And the reaction he has when he strikes a guy out, this is not old school baseball.
Speaking of meniscus, Hazy.
Yes, he might blow it out. If this guy has if he has a 12, 13, 14 strikeout game, there's a chance he blows both knees out.
It's incredible.
Look at this stuff. He is so animated. And after the game, via interpreter, but he was asked about it because obviously he's pitching on the road and the crowd wasn't overly happy about, the over the top celebrations. And he said, "Go ahead, boo if you want, man. You paid. You do whatever you want." Like, I'm paraphrasing, but and I'm paraphrasing in a different language. But he's like, "Yeah, go ahead. Like, I understand that, but I'm in the zone and I'm doing what I'm doing, and I'm going to continue to do what I do." And he's made it all the way to the major leagues. So why would you stop? Like those are big time celebrations. That's pimping a home run times 10 because the amount of strikeouts you can throw every start. No one's hitting 5, 6, 7 home runs a game, but this guy's going to throw a lot of strikeouts in his career.
That's a little Savannah bananas for me. Like, I'm all for exuberance and joy in the game, but, when you start doing, leaps and little dance steps on every strikeout, it's a bit much for me. It's a little choreographed.
Let me ask you this. What is more likely to happen? Because at some point, someone is going to send a message to him. Do you think it will be his own teammates that pull him aside and say that's not the way it goes in the major leagues, or someone on another team is going to make sure he hears about that?
I want to see someone take him deep and do the same thing.
That would be fun.
I want to see somebody hit 450 and be doing the splits coming out of the box. I think that would be incredible. But man, I usually use the line for judgment of, are you celebrating with your team or against the other team? And that blurs the line a little bit, but I think we need more entertainers in Major League Baseball. Pure entertainer. Vladdy at his best is an entertainer. He's a showman.
Yes, he is.
This guy is a showman. But the last thing, you got to be good.
Yes.
You cannot do that down 9-1. You can't do it with your first strikeout in the 4th inning. You got to be good.
And maybe that's out of context. We haven't seen the kid pitch on a regular basis. I want to see when he does it. Like, if you're doing it in a particularly big moment.
Like getting out of a jam late in the game, you're not coming back out. Okay.
That's just who you are. Okay, I can live with that. I'm not the old man yelling at clouds, to use your phrase from earlier in the show. I love it when guys, express emotion and they're up for it. Like, they want to be in the fight, and when they are in the fight and they're winning the fight, they're showing it. I'll take that all day. But I do think like that's going to get old quick if it's the regular routine on every strikeout, right?
Like if you're in the league for a long time and this guy's got 2,000 strikeouts and he does it 2,000 times, like that is
You're going to blow a knee one of those times.
That is likely what's going to end up happening. It's like the kicker that starts dancing and he blows his knee out, and then you realize you never should have gone down that road.
But,
and that may be the conversation. Like it may be a manager saying, hey, I love the attitude. I love the energy. I love how excited you are, but we're afraid something's going to happen. It does feel like at some point an old school guy is going to pull. And I don't know if they're around anymore in baseball, but an old school guy, like trying that 20 or 30 years ago, there's just no way. Like there's just
You'd be
no
dead.
You would be in big trouble.
A guy would just run at you, and they
from
would
their
punch.
team, and then a guy from your own team would look at you and say, "Don't ever do that again." Like we don't. That's not how we
I
operate.
love it. It's perfect. He's on the Mets too.
I know.
Come
They
on.
stink, and
Something
it's
about
like-
it's perfect.
Yeah,
man.
give us something interesting.
Well,
Great entertainer.
And that'll be the thing. Like if you're at Citi Field and it's the last place Mets, like I think there'd be a lot of Mets fans, even if you're having a decent game, but you're on a last place team and you're doing that stuff. It's not appropriate for a lot of Mets fans. Like like we're terrible, buddy.
Yeah.
Like know your place. It's time and score, and we are at the bottom of the standings here.
Right. It's got to be conflicting though, because you're right. I mean, Mets fans, I think, are just naturally embarrassed,
Right.
By everything. But they probably also want distraction and some excitement. And he's got, by all accounts, he's got some pretty good stuff. Like he wouldn't be up there if they didn't believe that he's got the potential to be an arm. I don't know exactly what his projections are, but it's one way to put your name on the map quickly. Like you do something that nobody else does. I've never seen a major league pitcher do that. Like from a strike. Like I've seen guys obviously fired up after getting out of jams or completing a game, what have you, but I've never seen anything like that.
I'm glad it's possible now. Like, remember 10, 15 years ago when people would have serious conversations about the tilt of Fernando Rodney's hat.
Right.
Is he disrespecting the game? Look at that angle. Like, come on. I'm glad that we can do this now, man. Like, I'm all for the big celebrations and making the game more fun. And, the fact we're talking about this guy, it's good. It works.
Well,
but it's, it's going to be funny when it backfires.
We did the pimp in the home run thing a lot.
Yep.
And obviously, Jose Bautista was really at the forefront of that. And we saw how the Rangers responded to it. They didn't like it. A lot of people in baseball didn't like it. And that, you look back on it now, it was really not that aggressive.
No.
The moment was crazy. He watched it go, but it was a no-doubter off the bat. And he threw his bat to the side. He pimped the home run. There's no denying that. But you watch the Dominican, Winter League. Those guys are doing somersaults down the first baseline.
Spectacular. Like, the Dominican Winter League. Like, if I won the lottery tomorrow and I could just take an off-season trip, I'd go to the Dominican Winter League every year.
Yeah.
I mean, Junior Caminero, the Rays star, has had some all-timers. Some ones where he is throwing the bat as high as he possibly can, and it's landing on a fan somewhere. Like, just unbelievable, man. That's where it really lives. But I'm glad we're past the original discourse on
right,
backflips.
Exactly.
Like, that sucked.
And that's that was on the players to just keep going with it, right? Because a lot of it is the players police themselves. And I think in baseball, every sport's got their own code where the players keep everyone in line, what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do. And especially with younger players. Like Jose was a veteran of the league at that point. It wasn't as if this was some childish thing where with Jan and the Mets, he's a young guy. He's just coming up.
Yeah.
There is a chance an older player takes him under his wing. But in order for the animated celebrations to survive, the players just had to fight through the kind of how loud it was surrounding them, because there were a lot of people that didn't like it or don't like new ways of going about business or what have you, or try to stick to the conservative old school ways. And it was on the players to say, we're just going to keep doing that. And for the most part, I don't remember the last time there was a big brawl in baseball because some guy reacted to a home run.
Been a minute, yeah.
I don't remember it happening. You still have, you hit our guy, we're going to hit your guy at some point. That's still
less
than it used to be. A lot less than it used to be. And it's probably, I guess, the new wave of managers, right? Like it used to be, the managers used to be a lot older, a lot crankier. They had a way of going about business, and it was more of a war. Now it's a friendlier sport. managers are a little bit neutered with front offices kind of directing the way things are going to work. And
that's very true. Like John Schneider, I think, is one of the last managers that has some old school in him. Like one of the last managers that can kick your ass, probably.
Yeah.
You know, when you look around baseball, there's a lot of very young managers, like not just guys who are 42, 44, very young managers who are coming from more of a front office background, and it's not as connected to the game, which is why I think it's important when you do have managers who have played, even if they didn't play well, you know, in the minor leagues, but they're more connected to it, man, and more connected to the celebrations and the culture. And when you see stars driving it too, man, like if Juan Soto's doing it, it's fine. It's cool. You know, like I remember back to the 2024 ALCS, Yankees Guardians, when Juan Soto had that at-bat, that late one where he was nodding his head along between every pitch saying, come get me, let's do it. He hit that home run to center in Cleveland. I'll remember it for the rest of my life. It was one of the most amazing at-bats I've ever seen. But he just took a few steps and stood and stared at his Yankees dugout. And it was a fully choreographed celebration. Like, when you do it in the right moments for these big moments, it becomes something that freezes in time.
Absolutely.
And it's so damn cool.
Oh, totally. And listen, intangibles have lost their way more in baseball than any other sport as well. Like I think there's a part of a baseball club that will look at it and say, great, you hit us. That means our on-base percentage has gone up. And
that's right.
We want the guy
That's an efficient play for us.
Right. Where back in the day, it was like, I don't care what the hell is going on. We have to send a message back. Doesn't matter if it's Game 7 of the World Series. We got to hit that guy. And now it seems as if that's not, it doesn't have the same place in the game.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I also think I joked about the Savannah Bananas earlier and how that kind of felt like Jan's celebration feels like something out of the Savannah Bananas. But that phenomena of those guys going around doing their little dance routines and
wild
and singing and dancing while they play baseball at a pretty high level. I mean, it's real. Like, it's $1 billion property by some estimates.
Loading up stadiums.
Yeah.
It's the Harlem Globetrotters, effectively, for baseball.
But bigger. And maybe there was a time when the Globetrotters were world famous. I think they were. They've been diminished to a certain degree.
Yeah.
These guys are hot. And I do think there's something to that. Like, there's clearly a demand for a fun time at the ballpark, right? There's a demand for a little bit of song and dance at the ballpark and not just crusty old baseball.
Yeah.
I can't believe the crowds they get.
Yeah.
It's the very definition of not for me. But I recognize it's for other people.
Same here.
Like when I watch it, ain't for me. But you can't deny the crowds.
Yeah.
Can't deny what they're getting.
Can't deny the money.
And
they created their own secondary market device so that people couldn't scalp their tickets. I mean, and they're doing pretty well with it when everybody said they wouldn't. I mean, these guys are pretty impressive. And it's all built on the idea that there should be fun at the ballpark. There should be joy at the ballpark. It's not just about, it's not like if analytics has sapped the joy out of the game, which a lot of us probably think it has to some degree, right? Turning everything into a spreadsheet, there's no emotion, there's no rage anymore or less rage.
Or spontaneity
there's
or
no
anything.
spontaneity because there's a formula for that, and we're going to play to the formula. We're going to play the percentages at all times. When the Major League Baseball has gone that way, like, it opens up a niche for somebody else, right? And it also opens up a niche for players if they want to express themselves to really make a name for themselves.
Right. Now, it's not worth anything, wins and losses, and like I couldn't name another team they play. I know the Globetrotters play the Washington Generals. Who the hell do the Savannah Bananas play? I don't even know. I have no idea, and I couldn't
I'm not
care
quite
less.
clear on that.
Yeah, I don't know. And like a win, do they win every single game like the Globetrotters? I would guess. Honestly, I'm totally ignorant to it because I'm with you. I don't find it overly interesting. I could see my kids wanting to go check it out if they roll through town because they found a way. I have seen highlights of games where they're doing flips with like line drives to center and a guy's doing a flip and catching the ball, and it's actually very impressive. And like basketball is more conducive to that. Like, you can do different things on the court and in possession of the ball that make it feel very different from the NBA, obviously, which would be more structured. No one's, bringing a bucket of water out onto the court,
right?
When the NBA teams are playing. Baseball, I found it more and more hard to believe. Like, how do you find plays within the game that are fun, like you say, or look? And they've found a way to kind of establish that with the rules and all that kind of stuff.
Some of the rules are fun. Like I like the one, my favorite clip. Here I am on OverDrive saying my favorite Savannah Bananas clip. Who have I become? Is one of the rules, I think, is that if a fan catches it, they're out.
Yes.
And it was one of the games, and there was a line drive over third base into the low left field bleachers, and the fan in the front row just popped it.
Yeah.
And he's on the field celebrating. Like, it was cool as hell, man. And
sure. And it is purely entertainment, obviously.
And if people are into it, man, like if that's how a 6-year-old kid gets into baseball,
100%.
Sweet, man.
Yep.
Anyway.
100%. All right, we got some arbitration coming up. We'll recap your list from earlier this hour, Keegan. Best bets coming up later in the hour. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
Go! It's the adventure of a lifetime. The Amazing Race Canada. All new Tuesday at 9, 8 Central on CTV. Stream next day on Crave.
Stampeders, Argos, Thursday on TSN.
OverDrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
right, best bets coming up later in the hour. NFL, CFL tonight. Hope the Argos get a good crowd. We heard Al's brother talking about some all-you-can-eat portion of ticket sales.
Sold.
Which, yeah, I mean, that's a compelling angle for sure. But, you know, I think it's been a tough run for the Argos, clearly. But they're 3-4. Chad Kelly's healthy, ready to go. Stamps are a good team. The West is a good division. But we talked about it yesterday. Outside of Montreal, man, it's wide open in the East. Completely wide open. The Red Blacks have been terrible this year. Hamilton's got quarterback issues, obviously. So, you know, right there for you, the Argos. You're not going to catch Montreal, but you can finish second in the division and have a home playoff game. So go for it.
And great weather tonight. Like, there's very few places I'd rather be than BMO Field on a night like this. It's
100%.
It's a venue and a half, man.
Yeah, it is. So I'm expecting a good crowd tonight, and they're going to get a lot of home games down the stretch. And you got tennis going tonight up at York, and Jays again are on their way to Philly tomorrow. But I have some arbitration that I want to get to. A few different arbitrations.
Love it.
Okay? And we'll track the Jays, and we'll get into that momentarily. But you know the way arbitration works. It's effectively a player, maybe a team, walks into arbitration. They are offered something. You can either take it or leave it based on kind of the statistical likelihood of that being your best option or not. All right? Let's begin with a Vladdy Guerrero Jr. arbitration case. Vladdy walks into ARB, and he is offered 20 home runs next season. Does he take it or leave it?
Leave it. My God, you better have more than that. Like, this is, and
he had 23 last year.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
He's got 6 right now.
I continue to reject the idea that he is just a hitter first who can provide value hitting 20 to 25 home runs. I reject it because the rest of this roster is not built as if he is that player. If the Blue Jays were more like the Yankees, where they had power built in from other hitters like Bellinger, like Jazz Chisholm, like Giancarlo Stanton, if he's ever healthy. Sure, cool. Have a guy that bats 300 and gets on base at a 400 clip. Sure. The Blue Jays aren't built like that. They're built for Vladdy to be the power and for everyone else to hit 12 or 14. Not for Vladdy to hit 12 or 14. That is a mental approach shift. I mean, look at the guy. You don't even need to see him swing. Look at him. Mm-hmm. He's built for power.
He is built for power.
He's built for power.
He's built for power.
It's about trying to. It's about saying no to that ball up and away that you can shoot to right field and trying to get one in on the next pitch that you can punish. Maybe it means you're batting 270 instead of 300, but the Blue Jays need game changers. They don't need another guy hitting for average.
Look, I hate to say this, but I take it because I think we got to come to the realization this is who he is. Like, around 20 is probably who he is. Like I was just doing the math, and he had the 48 home run year 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. Okay, 2021, pandemic-induced, minor league stadium aided 48 home runs. Right, that was 5 years ago. In the 5 seasons since, he's averaging 25 home runs a season. That's all he's averaging. So 20 is not bad. We'll take that over 6.
Well, and that was the thing. Like when I was going through this, I was going to put 25, and I thought you have to take 25.
25, you take probably a second.
Like, he's got – I hear what you're saying, Keegan. I understand you want more.
Love it.
But what he has proven is he is capable of giving less. You know, he had 23 last year, 6 this year. He's been healthy both years. I am going to leave it out of, like, purely praying this guy figures it out next year. And the fact that paying him that amount of money and accepting 20 is just something I'm not willing to do yet.
Yeah.
Like, I understand later in the contract, you're jumping on 20. 10 years from now, you're like, who knows? Maybe 7, 8 years from now, you're jumping on 20. But at 28 years old, in his prime, forget everyone around him, forget the team, forget all that kind of stuff. The amount you're paying him, what you know he's capable of doing, you've got to leave it out of principle based on that. Like, you have to believe the guy is going to be better than that, because if he's not, you're toast anyway. You know, like if you're taking 20 because you think he can't even get to 20, then you're basically admitting this is a sunk cost. And I'm not willing to accept that after year one.
I'm protecting my downside risk. I don't want less than 20. And there's a very good possibility I'm going to get less than 20. Now, look, I mean, do I wholly believe that? I'm getting there. And the only thing that stopped me from believing it completely is he had 8 home runs in 18 playoff games. And it wasn't that long ago, right? He had 8 home runs in 18 playoff games. Think about that.
Yeah.
I mean, he was absolutely on fire. And you have to believe that that's still in there somewhere. But where, it's yet to be located.
So, Keegan, what is the number that you jump on? Is it 25? Is it 30?
30
you got to take.
27.5 line.
I think you got to take, right? Like if arbitration goes, hey, we'll give you 27, I think I'd probably take that.
When you're paid this money.
I'm saying no to 20, but still, you know.
He's being paid to do rare things. Hitting for average is not rare on this team. This is a contact team. He cannot be the jet-fueled contact hitter. It doesn't fit the roster. It doesn't fit the organization. It doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, exactly. And there's not a lot of power bats out there that are going to be free agents coming up here. Not banking on Santander, getting healthy and hitting 40 next year. Yeah, he's still on the team.
Every once in a while, it reminds me.
He's still around.
Yeah.
He'll be there in spring training, and I guarantee he'll say, I feel better than ever.
You're not banking, but he's making bank.
He's making bank. He sure is. All right, Gavin McKenna walks into arbitration. He has offered 150 points over the first 3 seasons of his career as a Maple Leaf. On average, 50 per as an 18-year-old for his entry-level contract. Take it or leave it, Dave.
I take that.
Yeah?
It's a decent start.
It is.
I mean,
50. I mean, 50 as a rookie would be phenomenal. 50 on average in your 3rd year as a first overall pick. Is that something that would seem very underwhelming? Would it not? I mean, I think in 3 years, you're hoping the guy's a point-a-game player at that point in his career.
Is he going to be a point-a-game player in his career? I mean,
first overall pick.
You'd love to think he would be. Yeah, I mean, sorry. I was processing it's over 3 years. You're saying, okay?
Yes, I'm saying. I'm saying 150 total points.
Okay.
Over his entry-level contract.
Yeah, no, you'd have to let that.
You'd leave that.
I'd leave that at the table and hope for more because I think he's shown a lot of indication that he's got more. Mm-hmm. Like this guy looks like a world-class playmaker, a world-class processor of the game.
Yes.
And we're going to find out pretty quickly here. I mean, it's a young man's game. I mean, you got highest paid player in the league is 21 years old right now. So you got to make things happen quick. And I think this kid has the talent to do so.
Heavy leave. I demand more of Toronto's youth. Hayes.
Yes, good for you.
I demand more. I mean, first year 50, sure.
I think that's
50
reasonable.
In the first year. That means that you didn't fall on your face, you didn't get hurt, and it means that you stayed above water.
That's a good year for an 18-year-old in the NHL.
Really good.
And if you creep up a little bit more in year 2, great. But by year 3, when he's established, this is when guys are getting paid. Young kids are breaking out very early in the NHL. So by the end, I want more, and I want more for young Gavin.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And now you could doctor the numbers and say 30 in year 1 and 50 in year 2 and 70 in year 3, and it would average out. But it is that 3rd year where I think it's totally realistic and reasonable to project in year 3 this guy could be pushing up on 100 points.
Yeah.
That's not out of the realm of possibility. He's a first overall pick that is an uber talent, that is a points machine throughout his junior career and his collegiate career in the second half of college. I know in the first year he struggled a bit at Penn State. The second year, the guy was putting up big, big numbers.
Yeah.
Per game numbers that were Hobie Baker level stuff. And as long as he has players to play with, now that's an important thing to point out. Be the greatest playmaker in the world if you don't have anyone that can score. So you're assuming Matthews is here for the 3 years, Willie's here for the 3 years, John Tavares still has, legs and enough in the tank where he's still scoring goals at that rate. If those 3, or Nyes is still here, who is, I think, a 30-plus goal scorer himself, I would leave it as well. I think, again, 50 year 1, I would take it right now. If that was the arbitration case,
yes,
he goes into ARB, he's offered 50 points this year, I would pounce on that.
You take that.
100%. If that's 15 goals, 35 assists for an 18-year-old who's not a big guy, he's going to get pushed around. He's going to have to find his way. I don't see him being a dominant force in the crease or in and around the net. He's going to be more of a perimeter point getter early in his career. And who's he playing with? How does Hiller play him? Does he shelter him, which I think is probably what I would be expecting, especially early on in his tenure here in Toronto.
Yeah, and if you're playing him with Matthews, can you shelter him?
Well, but that's it. Like, I don't think he's not playing with Austin night one. I don't think.
Probably not night one.
I would be surprised.
He'll get in there eventually, though.
Eventually, he'll have opportunities, and there'll be injuries, and there'll be power plays, and he'll have great nights where he's got his legs and points, and they're going to say, let's give him a shot. But there's also going to be nights where you say, man, that guy's 18, and he's getting pushed out of the game.
Yeah.
That's going to happen a fair amount in his rookie year. So I would take 50 in a heartbeat. 150 over 3 years is different, though.
Yeah,
because of that third year.
Yeah.
Like you got to project that he's at least a point a game guy, if not better than that in 3 years.
Well, just not to say he's the next Mitch Marner. I know there are people saying that, but he's certainly got certain aspects of his game, being a playmaking winger and being a guy who ripped up the lower levels. I mean, Marner was 61 as a rookie, 69 then year 3, to your point. Big jump to 94.
Yes.
In year 3, right? That's the year where you make the jump.
I think that's a reasonable, parallel offensively.
Yeah.
Like, Mitch is a brilliant defensive player, and he's a penalty killer. McKenna, at this point, is not expected to have the same kind of molded game, right? I don't think he's killing penalties. I think that's a concern early on in his career. Like, how do you play defensively? Can you, pick up where you're supposed to be? Are you going to find yourself out of position? That's something they're going to have to work with him on. Marner was not a finished product as a 19-year-old coming in, but he was a well-rounded player immediately. But they also let him play. He was playing big minutes early in his career.
Yeah.
And by year 3, he was their I believe, probably the forward that played more minutes than anybody else.
That's right.
On the team. I'm not sure McKenna's going to be in that position by year 3. But offensively, Marner was a wizard. He was a remarkable offensive talent in junior. McKenna is just as hyped, if not more hyped, offensively than Marner was.
Yes.
Offensively, yes. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that's unreasonable. I'm not predicting it's going to happen, and I don't know how good the team's going to be. Those Leaf teams were playoff teams 3 years in a row when Marner showed up. But 61, 69, 94, I wouldn't be shocked if McKenna does that.
No.
And if he does that, you're ecstatic. Then he has quite literally replaced Marner offensively.
Especially with who he's surrounded by. There's enough goal scorers around him. By year 3, I can see Matthew Nyes banging in a ton of Gavin McKenna assists.
Yep.
Right? Like, I think he'll be in the right situation. They'll be scoring enough. Whether they're a playoff team or not, I don't know. But they'll be scoring enough for him to bang those in. And I like it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I can't wait to see him play.
A lot of fun.
I am looking forward to seeing him play.
I think there's an attitude there too, man. Like, I'm fired up.
Yeah.
This is not your, soft, sheltered kid coming out of the junior hockey machine. Like, there's some attitude, there's some edge there, and I think people are going to love that in this market.
He's a UConn boy, and he went down to Penn State. He's getting in bar fights.
I liked him the moment I saw that.
Yeah, there's some stuff. There's some wild stuff going on with Gavin McKenna.
Yeah,
and listen, it'll be an interesting case study because generally speaking, over time, the Leafs win, and the magnitude of the market wins to basically force guys into being more sheltered and more guarded and more careful and less free with their words and their actions and their lifestyle. That's usually what ends up happening. The team gets the players and goes, hey, you don't want to go there. Or if you're going out, be careful. Cameras, videos, And I wouldn't be shocked if that happened with McKenna to an extent, but early on in his tenure, the rookie came, he's out, he's going to games, was at the soccer match. He's having a great time. Yeah. And he should. Why not? Your first overall pick.
Way, man.
Yeah,
give the city a rock star.
Totally. And I think that is actually incredibly needed with this team.
Yep.
Where all of their players, their best players, do not show any personality publicly.
No.
I'm sure privately they're very different people. But between Austin, Willie, John Tavares, those guys don't say anything.
No, very robotic.
Very robotic. Very, very just get me out of here. I'm going to say a few words and I'm leaving. I'm not saying that McKenna's going to, call people over and say, make sure the mics are on. I want to set up court and talk for the next 15 minutes. But a little bit of personality would go a long way.
It'll sell, man.
It will. And people want that.
One spicy quote, throw one punch.
There's always been this impression, and again, I think it's internal. I think it's the Maple Leafs more than anyone that are the believers that you can't do it here. You can't just be a freewheeling talking machine. You'll get in trouble. And yes, will people react and will people interpret and misinterpret and talk about it? Sure, but if you've got the ability to fight through those stop signs and keep talking, fans are going to love that kind of stuff.
It takes a certain kind of person to be able to do it, because all we hear about, or what we hear about, I think too often is the outside noise, and we got to minimize and block out the outside noise.
We can't contribute to that.
Right, and therefore, I think it breeds what you're talking about, Hayes, the robotic quotes, and I'm not giving any fuel to the fire. I'm not going to be interesting. I'm not going to give my actual opinion about anything, because the plebes don't deserve it, and it's all about us in this room, and we'll keep all that to ourselves. But that's the opposite of show business, right? Which is what this really should be to some degree.
Yeah.
As long as you're doing your part as a competitive person on the ice, you can be a showman.
You can have your cake and eat it too.
Right.
Yeah. You got to be a good teammate. Of course, that goes without saying. Don't air out dirty laundry. I get that. Like, I understand that. That's important. Every team needs it. Every dressing room, clubhouse, etc. But having the ability to laugh, or talk about different things, or call your shot.
Yeah.
We're winning tonight. No one does that in Toronto.
Exactly.
They're terrified historically of ever talking about anything like that.
It can be easy, man.
Yeah.
Like, this is not complicated. And it's like I sense a market that's just starved for that rock star, man.
Come on.
It's not going to take much.
Yeah.
You're going to have to curse once in a post-game scrum, and oh my God, the scandal that will be. But you're going to have, listen, don't get arrested, treat people well, don't be dumb. But beyond that, man, it's all right to have a little fun.
Exactly.
You're 18 years old, you're 101 for the Leafs.
Exactly. Exactly. First overall for the Maple Leafs. You got a lot of leverage and a lot of people excited for it.
You have a great mentor in Jeff O'Neill.
Exactly. The O-Dog gave you his number. Go out there and have fun. Embrace it. And you got to play well, be a good teammate. All that goes without saying, of course. But there's a long history of guys in this league that big character, like Matthew Tkachuk, and like those guys have podcasts. No one down in Florida is like, keep it in the room.
Can you imagine if a Leaf had a podcast?
I don't even know if the Leafs would allow it.
No.
Like, honestly, I don't know if
I'm not sure they could prevent it if the player wanted to do it.
They can't prevent it. Of course,
they can strongly suggest it not happen,
or try and monetize it and put it on like MapleLeafs.com.
Yeah, we know who the sponsors would be.
Keith Pelly's pulling over right now to make a note.
I could see him. Right. That's not a bad idea.
Pretty
We're
good
going to pitch that to the players.
Pretty good idea. Hayes.
Yeah, streaming live on MapleLeafs.com.
That's a revenue plus. There you go.
The Jays just got walked off at Wrigley. Louis Varland blowing a save. That's twice this week he's come in and got hit. And you're like, where? What? How? Louis been perfect all year.
All good things cannot last. The Jays made two spectacular defensive plays to keep this game alive.
Your guy, Ernie.
Nathan Lucas had an incredible throw, but man, Louis Varland. That's how this goes. I mean, the entire weight of this team has been on Louis Varland all season long. And then when the other stuff gets good, that starts to shake. It's just the balance of
two outs in the ninth, and Louis Varland gives up a 2-run home run to tie it.
Okay. You could blame the pitchers, and you can blame Louis Varland. But look at this number. 1 for 19 with runners in scoring position.
Good Lord.
1 for 19.
Pathetic.
With runners in scoring position.
That's hard to do.
You blame the staff for that? You blame the arms?
No. Listen, but that's the Blue Jays in 26.
Yeah.
That's the way they run. That's the way it works.
That's rough.
And it's just pointing out that Louis Varland has been perfect in all these games that didn't really matter because the team stunk, and now they kind of starting to pick up some steam.
Yes.
Like if they left Wrigley here today with a win, that's a fair amount of wins in the last week for the Jays.
It is.
But 1 for 19. You know why I don't blame that on the staff? Because if you gave John Schneider 19 ABs, I think you might be able to slip that through.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
We always say the coach doesn't go up there and swing the bat. Well, if he did, he might be able to. Like a little.
He'd find a gap
slot.
somewhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they absolutely
still got that natural power, that Schwarber power.
That stings.
Wow, that's tough.
2 outs in the ninth, and he gives up a 2-run home run. And like you mentioned, there were some defensive plays, including the bottom of the 10th, where Ernie Clement looked like he was 10 feet in the air to rob the game-winning single. I didn't see who was hitting for the Cubs, but man, that's a tough one. So now the Jays are on their way to Philly. That's a different plane than it was going to be about an hour ago. An hour ago, that plane was going to be feeling good, and now that plane ride is not going to be
early
feeling
plane
good.
ride too.
Yeah.
Some cervezas.
Because an hour ago, like we were just talking about it, Cleveland had lost, Baltimore had lost today, so they were looking at being 2.5 back. and now it's 3.5.
Yeah. That's every game is going to count. Obviously, if you still are being optimistic that they can stay in a race or get in a race, and that's one you might circle. That one may circle at the end. That's tough. Jays losing that game down at Wrigley. All right, final arbitration. Josh Allen steps into arbitration. He is offered one Super Bowl appearance, which he can determine if he wins or loses. It's not about winning or losing. It's just arbitration saying you have one Super Bowl appearance during your Buffalo Bills tenure. No guarantee of a win, no guarantee of a loss, but we're going to guarantee you get there and the rest will be your history. But that's your only one chance as a Buffalo Bill. Does he take it or leave it?
You have to leave it. It's not enough.
Yeah, for the Bills, you got to leave it?
Well, I know it sounds absurd, but there was a time where the Bills got their 4 straight years.
Yes, they did.
Remember that?
Yeah. How'd they go?
When we were young.
How'd it work out for the
When
Bills?
we were young. But to me, this team's too good to cap itself at one Super Bowl appearance. And I think they'll get there more than once in Josh Allen's tenure. He's that good.
I hope you're right.
The organization, I think, is smart enough to figure this out. This is going to be, I think if he's going to get more than one of them is going to have to come this year. I really do believe that.
Yeah.
It's got to happen pretty fast. Like he's not a rookie anymore. He's been around a while and he's suffered a few heartbreaks. But I think you'd have to expect more than one. I don't know if you could settle on one. I wouldn't if I was Josh Allen.
Okay.
I'm a settler, and I hate doing it, but I think I'd take the one appearance. I think of his career up to this point, how long it's been, and how he's been looking for one. But I also think of, like, how many more years of prime with full rushing ability, healthy Josh Allen are we going to get? I hope 500. Probably not. He's 30. We're probably looking at 5, 6 of playing this style of football when he's at his maximum capacity and the complete single-handed driver of the Bills' offense. Do I want to take one out of those 5 years, 6 years? I hate it, but yeah.
But you're guaranteed it.
Yeah.
Like they have not been to one.
You're going to get your shot.
And that's why I would take it too. And I understand you'd be kicking yourself after playing in it, especially if they lose that game in this fantasy arbitration world we're living in, where you'd say, how did I accept that? But if they win it, that's all you really need, right? Like that's another way to look at this. Like if you guarantee Josh Allen in the dance, is he going to lose that game? And if he wins it, that's all he needs. Like the Bills are much like the Leafs in that way. You don't need 3 or 4 or 5. They'd be great. Obviously, you'd prefer it. You just need one, right? The Cubs won one, and they haven't done anything in 10 years since.
You can go 0 for 17 the next year.
Right.
People won't care.
Exactly. Like the Sox, when they won in 04, then they won again in 07. They won again in, I want to say, 11 and 18. They have won, which would be better. But I think if you're a Buffalo Bill fan, just one win is enough. And this gives me the opportunity to play for it. I would take it.
Yeah. No, you make a compelling case. I just feel like
you want to expect more.
A player
but
this
I
good.
can't believe they haven't played a Super Bowl yet.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It's like you look at it like think about you can make the case. Like obviously we're conditioned on Tom Brady.
Yep.
7 rings and 10 appearances, right? And it's like, wow. Like how could you settle at one if you feel you're the best quarterback in the league? I think there's an argument to be made. Josh Allen is the best quarterback in the league. So how could you possibly cap his career at one Super Bowl appearance, right? That's what I'm thinking.
I know.
In the grand scheme of things. But Keegan makes a great point. The guy's 30 years old. I mean, this is year 9.
He doesn't play an age-friendly style of football.
And yet it hasn't hurt him yet.
True, which amazes me.
Yeah.
I know.
So
I know.
And look, your boy A-Rod, 1 Super Bowl, 1 win, right?
Yep.
That's it. That's all he's ever had.
Yep.
And he ain't getting there this year.
Got there one time and he won it.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right, best bets coming up. Jay's losing this afternoon. Dylan Cease pitched a gem to just another brilliant performance by him. And Louis Varland blows a save in the 9th. The Jays lose in the 11th. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
The summer of soccer continues on TSN.
Sensational!
Watch La Liga, MLS, and so much more. TSN, Canada's sports leader. Subscribe now.
The Amazing Race Canada, all new Tuesday at 9/8 Central on CTV.
Now, back to Overdrive with Hayes, Noodles, and the O-Dog.
All right, Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. The Hall of Fame game tonight, and it is a doozy.
Every time you say it, I get happy. I'm here cheesing like a fool because there is a god-awful football game on tonight, and I'm going to love every second of it.
Panthers, Cardinals. Like, do they not like this Hall of Fame class? Is this a shot at, the inductees going in this weekend? I don't know. But my theory on this is take the worst team, which is Arizona, in my opinion, with a new coach, because I think the players, there's going to be a little bit more inspiration. And even though Carolina should never be in a position where they should be looking past anybody, there's a chance they do that tonight. I'm going to take Cardinals on the money line tonight, paying a little bit of plus money. They're a slight dog in terms of the line. It's a 1.5 point spread. It's effectively a pick 'em. I'm on Carolina tonight. And the LaFleur, the younger brother, getting himself a win tonight.
You said Carolina. You're on
Sorry,
Arizona.
I'm on the Cardinals.
Okay,
That's what I
gotcha.
keep trying to say.
I love
Arizona. I'm on Arizona tonight.
August is here, and we've got dollars on Carson Beck, baby.
I love Beck tonight.
What a reason to live.
I love the Cardinals, and I love them on the money line tonight. I'm not even playing the spread.
Wow.
Straight win, baby.
Playing a spread in the Hall of Fame game is tough.
Yeah, it seems a little bit. I'm a degenerate, but not that much of one. Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Same game parlays for every NFL game available on the FanDuel. Tomorrow, Dave, we'll see you next week.
Looking forward to it.
Awesome. All right, boys. Thanks to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, and, of course, up on YouTube Live, streaming soon up on Crave. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at 4 p.m. We'll chat then.
SportsCenter begins with the Toronto Argos making their return to BMO Field tonight when they take on the Calgary Stampeders. It's been 307 days since they've played at this stadium, having played 3 of their home games in Winnipeg, Saskatchewan, and Hamilton. This will also be Chad Kelly's first start at the stadium in over a year. The veteran QB missed all of last season, recovering from a broken leg. As we say hello, everyone, and welcome inside the SportsCenter newsroom. I'm Glenn Sheeler. So the Argos welcome in the Stampeders for their lone visit to Toronto this season. The Boatmen coming off a win over the Lions, but that was 12 days ago. And the game when their starting quarterback, Chad Kelly, went down with a neck injury, but he was a full go in practice all week. So Kelly is back under center tonight. Let's take a look at some of the storylines heading into this one. As we mentioned, this will be the Argos' first home game in almost a full calendar year. Their last game in Toronto came way back October 4th, 2025, when they lost to the rival Ticats in Week 18. However, the Boatmen are an outstanding 30-13 at BMO over the last 5 seasons. They'll have to do a much better job containing Vernon Adams Jr. than they did in Week 5 when he led Calgary to a season-best 58 points. Adams tossed a career-high 6 touchdowns and 405 yards, also added a rushing score there. And the MOP candidate hasn't thrown a pick in his last 295 attempts. Meanwhile, his counterpart, Chad Kelly, as mentioned, back behind center for the Argos. He left their Week 8 win over BC with that neck injury, but he's good to go tonight after a timely bye week. He's thrown for at least 300 yards in 5 of 7 starts this season. But Kelly, he'll be in tough against the Stamps. He's lost 2 of his career starts against them, and Calgary has won 4 of its last 5 meetings with Toronto, and they are 3-1 on the road this season. All right, Matthew Shinetti joins us live from BMO Field. The Argos will play a home game for the first time since October, Matt. How excited are the players to be finally playing in front of their hometown crowd again?
Yeah, they're happy to actually be in a home that they know they're going to be in, Glenn, for a sustained period of time. I'll take you into the last week for the Toronto Argonauts because head coach Mike Miller, and this is his first season, this is actually his home debut as the Argos head coach. Well, if he had a handbook for being a first-year head coach, he could fill a lot of pages with the travel and the injuries and all the logistical issues the Argos had to deal with over the first 7 weeks. Remember, they were basically a 10